In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they're going to let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas that only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done.
That was President Biden taking some time toward the end of his speech last night to address concerns surrounding his age. Joining us now, author and NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. Michael, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Pleasure, Jonathan.
It tends to be that State of the Unions don't matter so much in terms of moving the needle in a reelection campaign, but there were more eyes last night on last night's speech than usual because of what we just played. President Biden needing to show some vigor, pundits believe, to address concerns about his age. He certainly did last night, delivering a strong performance. But tell us, what are some things that stuck out for you last night, and how did it stack up against speeches delivered by other incumbents during an election year?
Well, I think to really understand it, Jonathan, it almost, the moment it reminded me was not a State of the Union, but Harry Truman, 1948, his acceptance speech at the Democratic Convention in Philadelphia. It was very late. People in that convention hall thought that Truman was going to lose. They had tried to look for another candidate. Sound familiar a little bit? And so Truman came in there with total confidence, began by saying, referring to his running mate, Senator Barkley and I will win this election and make these Republicans like it. Well, that would have been too partisan for last night, but that was the spirit of that speech. That was Harry Truman, feisty, scrappy, happy warrior, and also the thing that really worked perfectly just as a tactic for public speaking was, Biden was unveiling point after point that a great majority of the American people agree with him, and the Democrats disagree with Republicans, beginning with supporting Ukraine and supporting a strong NATO. And not only did he get applause for those things, but almost as if it was a setup, you had the House Speaker sitting behind him, Mike Johnson, alternating scowls and smirks, just sort of a continuous advertisement that Republicans are not on the side of the majority.
Yeah, it felt like the president was playing a little rope-a-dope there and won those exchanges with the Republicans. But on that, we just had Congressman Auchincloss, Democrat from Massachusetts, on the show a moment ago, and he was saying he was just outraged by some of the heckling by Republicans in the chamber, shouting, "You lie," Marjorie Taylor Greene going on and on. He said they need to grow up. Is that, just speak to us about this setting. Like, this is the kind of thing that not that long ago would have been unthinkable during the State of the Union. It feels like the Republicans have degraded another public event.
It was. And, I hated it. And that's the world that we're now living in. You had Marjorie Taylor Greene wearing a Trump hat and, a shirt that was in favor of Trump as well, and confronting the president. Can you imagine any other president in history having to deal with something like that? But what was important was not that setting, which was inevitable, but the way that the president dealt with it. This was a happy warrior. He gave not only as good as he got, but he gave better.
Biden's reaction to seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene in her hat is pretty amusing. We just played it there. So, Michael, give us just your sense. The president's major mission last night was to draw a contrast between himself and his predecessor. And that's what he kept saying, predecessor. He never used Trump's name, but Trump hovered over this entire speech. Do you think the president did the job he needed to do?
Sure. First of all, when did you hear a predecessor mentioned so many times in the State of the Union, especially one who's going to be an opponent in the fall? And that's rare in history in any case. But the other thing is that, he made it very clear This is not a normal election. This is an election that could lead to dictatorship. It could lead instead to expanding our rights and more democracy, for which so many Americans have given their lives over 2 centuries. And I think at the end of that speech, there's a larger chance that in November, it's going to go in the direction of democracy.
Yeah, and so striking and fitting, the president can repeatedly refer to January 6th, that insurrection taking place right in the very chamber where he spoke last night. Author and NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss, thank you. We really appreciate you being with us this morning.